Hello, it's Polish Pol VR, welcome to my channel, and in this video we're going to talk about Insomniac. As we know, Sony bought this studio and I want to concentrate a bit about their legacy because they released already 4 VR games and also plenty of other games. So, most importantly, I want to speak about VR games, but first of all, let's speak a bit about the studio, because this is a studio that during the lifespan of one console generation can release multiple exclusive for different platforms, multiple mobile games and of course VR games. Since the beginning of this generation they released Sunset Overdrive for Xbox One, which later got ported to the PC, but also for PS4 they released Ratchet & Clank and of course very well received Spider-Man, while also having some multi-platform games like Song of the Deep. But most importantly, they released some VR games, which is Edge of Nowhere, the Unspoken, Feral Lights and Starland, and that's what I want to concentrate about. But also they managed to release a game for augmented reality headset, which is Seedling. So they are very busy studio, and Sony with their accusation, I think they basically killed two birds with one stone, because they've got studio that can make multiple games which can work on their very big, probably Spider-Man 2 exclusive in the future, but also can make some VR games meanwhile. So first of all, let's speak about their legacy in VR. Those games we probably never gonna see on PSVR because they used to be Oculus exclusives, but I want to talk about them so you can see what they're actually been working on and how awesome they are, because all their games are pretty amazing. So their first game was Edge of Nowhere, and this was your third person kind of horror game, adventure game, and also very good game. It's played just with VR headsets and the normal controller because it's come out in 2016, back in the day when actually Oculus didn't have motion controllers. There was the times when PSVR had better controllers than Oculus, believe it or not. So their decision was to do third person game. In this game you playing as a dude who goes on an adventure to look for his wife because she's been part of an expedition in Antarctica, but sadly this expedition gone missing. So you're going to find her, you are in your plane, the shit hits the fan, you crash in and then off you go. Once you put yourself together, you go in just forward to see what happens, and some crazy stuff happening. Nothing is as it seems. It's a basically psychological horror thriller, so you'll be reliving very strange and unnatural things, but also you'll be seeing and fighting some amazing huge monsters, do some platforming as well. I think you can like say it's like a horror version of Tomb Raider. Now this game looks amazing. If something like that came out for PSVR, I would definitely lose my shit and want to play it, but also it shows that Insomniac was in VR since the day one, as this game is over 3 years old now and still holds up. Looking at the footage, like if you google it, look for some gameplay and stuff, it still looks great, and it's something like it could be released for PSVR if they wanted to. Don't know what Sony gonna make them to do, but anyway, coming back to this game, the graphics are really nice. It's very nicely optimized as well, so it don't have high specs for PC. They very experienced in VR now, especially that this for a first game it pretty much trumps a lot of games that coming out today and are not as good. And even though it not utilizes motion controllers and only plays with gamepad, you know, we've had Astrobot and that was amazing, one of the best rated PlayStation VR games, so I don't see something like that would be the problem, and definitely them stepping into this mature audience with VR from day one was very good choice as well. If you are a fan of the book Mountains of Madness, then in this game you would be in your element, because I think it takes a lot from this book. Even though I never played it, just I watch gameplays and playthroughs, and that's what it looks like to me. Very good games. The reviews are super positive. One of the first VR games, one of the pioneers, and it's delivered big time. If you look at this game and look at some games that come out after, definitely this one is one of the higher quality games, and Insomniac definitely did great with this game and proved again that they are studio that can make pretty much everything, even a game in third person in VR when you're looking for your wife. Seems simple, and they've been speaking about it in their live stream. It was actually quite complicated. They need to design a lot of new technology, but now they own this technology and they can use it in the future for PlayStation VR. So that was their first VR game and very first VR success story as well. Their next game was Feral Lights, a different kind of game, a fighting kind of game. It's still in third person, but this time camera not following you, but you going on the screen and the camera is stuck on your head. Think a bit like Moss when you just seen this diorama of a screen, and it plays kind of like old school fighting games because you're going from one area to another area. You have to clear one area to be able to go to the next area, so you have to fight everyone. The story in this game goes that very long time ago a very beloved chieftain was brutally murdered, and the society that was super nice and peaceful, it all fell into the chaos. The violence is everywhere, so nice, happy, peaceful people had to run away somewhere else, or otherwise they would be murdered. But you are this chieftain infant child, and you was saved and raised in a foreign land. And now you are all grown up, all proper like badass adult. You return to your island and you going on a revenge mission and going to murder the killer of your father. So sounds like a very good story, but also this game had a lot of cool features. Because apart from being yourself, you can transform into a beast. If somebody of you played Bloody Roar on PS1, when you could transform into this beast mode, you can do that in this game as well. Very nice addition. Combat system is your combo based combat as you want to experience in your, side-scrolling brawler games, but in VR, which is even 10,000 times better. The game is kind of large. It's actually bigger and longer than the first game, which was Edge of Nowhere, so on a bigger side as well. You got story missions, but also there is plenty of side quests, so the exploration is definitely encouraged. You can choose from male or female characters. They got different abilities, and of course, to encourage exploration as well, you gonna collect some new gear, you gonna find some treasures and some other character optimizations, so they pretty much think about everything to make sure this game gonna be super replayable. And of course their combat system, if you played Spider-Man, you know they've got that nailed. Of course this come out before Spider-Man, but they know their shit and they know how to do good fighting game. Therefore Feral Lights was their another success and got good reviews as well. And once again, this is not new game. This game came out in 2016, and once again it shows that Insomniac games definitely holding up very nicely, because when I look at Oculus catalog, they got definitely many good games, but in their top games, Feral Lights and Edge of Nowhere and Insomniac's other games, they definitely finding their place. It just shows when big studio gets behind VR, they can produce many awesome products for many players to enjoy. Of course, this game, like the last one, was played only with a pad. They didn't have motion controls included yet, but that doesn't mean that they didn't want to try them, because their next game actually utilizes motion controllers very nicely, and motion controllers are big thing in this game. So now we're gonna speak about it. The Unspoken. So I left it to kind of nearly last one because I wanted to touch about motion controllers. It actually came out before Feral Lights, but not that long before, and this is their first game that utilizes motion controls, the Oculus Touch, when they released them, so the PlayStation VR sadly didn't have the better controllers than Oculus anymore. But saying that, we don't know what PSVR gonna have when PS5 releases. We definitely gonna get some good shit. But anyway, let's speak about the Unspoken. So this is a spellcaster game, but looking at gameplay, if you like arena shooters, then you probably gonna like this one. It's happening in a city where magic is real and duels happening everywhere. Magical people, they just thinking, let's fight, that's what you want to do. We want to fight each other and show our enemies how awesome at magic we are. So in this game you can play against other players, showing off your awesome skills. It supports 1 versus 1 player versus player. You'll be able to cast powerful spells, lift police cruisers with telekinetic force. You'll be able to rain pyrokinetic fury down your opponent. You'll be able to summon a fiery skull with your bare hands, forge a shield shattering mystic spear, and just doing a lot of other magical stuff. Plus, of course, this game got proper progression system. You've got 25 spells to master and multiple arenas to conquer. And yet again, this is another good reviewed game from Insomniac. They had another challenge with trying to support touch controllers, but they nailed it and motion controllers worked great. So another thing that they learn along the way. Definitely very experienced by now, and I think that's why their next game that everyone loses shit over. It's going to be a game that pretty much gonna be their best yet in VR, and of course I gonna talk about now about upcoming Starland. So that's coming out next month, but remember, we talking about Insomniac's legacy in VR because they're PlayStation Studio now, but we looking at their past, and all those VR games I'm talking about sadly are Oculus exclusive. I don't know what deals they've got with Oculus. If Oculus published them and paid money for them, I'm assuming they won't be able to bring all those games to PSVR. But also saying that, with all those games, they definitely gained plenty of experience, and with the IPs they already own and, you know, the crazy ideas they've had, I'm sure they'll be able to bring very nice PlayStation VR game eventually. But anyway, let's talk about Starland and what is the meaning and what is the message of that one. Now, in this game you'll be able to play it by yourself, but if you want you can play it in co-op as well. With the Unspoken they already managed to support multiplayer, now they managed to support co-op as well. The movement is very nice as well because it's very smooth from what I'm seeing. You'll be able to fly across the slipstream, boost yourself through a cyclone burst, you'll be able to launch yourself to a high cliff and glide back down with all new touch mechanics. With Spider-Man, which they had for PS4, they proved that they can easily do game with very nice vertical movement, and I think it comes to play into the Starland as well. And of course in this world the game gonna pretty much change all the time because each week Starland will reveal new challenge set and will be showing you stuff that was never before seen, like new peaks, ruins, strongholds and caves nestled in an expansive cloud space. So a game that gonna last you forever. Of course, apart from movement and stuff, this game got very nice combat, and you'll be able to equip different types of weapons to find different types of synthetic troops. You'll be controlling an android and you'll be able to augment your android's abilities to cloak your body, manifest shields and harness electricity. Of course, as you exploring this beautiful expansive world, you'll be finding new tech and you'll be building yourself new stuff, and you'll be seeing how much you push limits of your design. That's what they're saying. So this is not out yet, but it's coming out next month for PC and people are super hyped for it. Now, this was all the for Insomniac games that they did in past for VR, and like I mentioned many times in this video, don't get too excited for PSVR version, but also get excited because Insomniac showing that they can make good games. And if you think like those type of graphics, those types of games never will work on PlayStation VR, don't forget, when big studio gets behind the game, they making something pretty special, even with PlayStation 4's limited power. Just look at Astrobot, Wipeout Omega Collection, Resident Evil 7, the VR missions for Ace Combat, Everybody's Golf, Blood and Truth, Farpoint, and the list can goes on and on, because even though PlayStation VR is limited in power, the big studio can squeeze everything out of it, and many PlayStation VR games can look better than some of the current PC games as well. So with the inclusion of Insomniacs to Sony's worldwide studios, we definitely gonna look for a treat in the future. And now we coming to the part of this video when we gonna speak a bit about the future and what to expect. So once again, I gonna stress that those VR games I spoke about, they probably never will come to PSVR, and like I said, I don't know what kind of deal is with Oculus, so maybe they will, maybe they not, but for me they truly Oculus exclusive, so probably not. But saying that, let's look into the future. Sony bought Insomniac for a reason, and the main reason for me is probably they want more Spider-Man, as it was the one of the best received and best selling PlayStation 4 games, and of course showed that Insomniac is pretty awesome studio. But of course they've been publishing Ratchet and Clank for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 2 and Vita, so definitely very expansive catalog. They don't own Spyro, so that's why you've had Spyro remastered, not published by them, but all of their other IPs, I think most of them they own. And now speaking what they could make in the future, we know they can make either a fighting game or maybe some kind of first-person shooter, maybe third-person game, maybe third-person platformer, who knows. This year on April Fools, they actually like put little teaser and said yes, we're making Ratchet and Clank in VR. but of course it was April Fool's joke. But saying that, maybe there is some truth in it. They do regular live streams on their channel, and they mentioned already that they got all VR development kits, you know, so they got your Vive, Oculus, but also PSVR, so I'm sure they was experimenting with something. And also it is a team, they said they've got tons and tons of ideas, and if they make something, or they ask to make something, or they ask to put out their ideas forward, then they can come back to their idea box, let's call it like that, and pull something out and see what they can do with it. Now, this studio was around since 1994, so they've got tons and tons of experience in developing their games, and let's don't forget, pretty much every of their games was an instant classic. Now, let me know in comment section what you think, what they gonna release, and what you want them to release. For me, I think we all should be happy that Sony owns them, because for PS4 owners, of course, Spider-Man gonna be coming probably again, maybe next gen, looking 10 times better, but also for PlayStation 4 owners with their VR headset, we might see something special as well, because even though they can make big AAA games, meanwhile they can make big VR games as well. As this video shown, they really released tons of stuff this gen for all the platforms, consoles, PCs, mobiles, VR. They've done it all, and they've done it very, very good. So it's a big studio with very, very big experience. I think with Sony's backing and Sony's money, they gonna just shine. So like I said, just let me know in comment section what you think and what you want to see. But anyway, there you have it. That's Insomniac's legacy in VR. We can get excited that now they're gonna be exclusively releasing for PlayStation 4. Okay, if you like what you're seeing, then please press a like, because it does help the channel a lot. And if you're new to the channel and are not subscribed, then subscribe. It's always better when it's more of us. And that's it, bye.